The following review was recorded on my iPod, but unfortunately I couldn't salvage the actual footage from the video, so what I had to do was just shoot some gameplay and put some gameplay on top of the video and everything. So that's why you're going to hear in this video that the sound quality isn't that great. The audio is obviously not going to be on par with what you're hearing right now, and I had to actually cut the video up. So if there's any times in the video where it seems like I was about to say something else, then that's probably why, because I just had to cut the video up. I didn't mean for this video to be that long, but unfortunately I had to do this review basically using my iPod because I didn't have time to record at the time that I did this review. So uh, that's just really all I want to say before I let you guys go ahead and watch this video. But I just want y'all to know that I just didn't have time to really edit this the way that I wanted to edit it and really do the review the way that I normally do my reviews, in which I usually try to make my reviews very professional and everything. But unfortunately for this one, I didn't really have time to do that. So thank you guys for watching this video, and thank you for your support and everything. And I hope you guys enjoy the video. I'm out of here.
What is going
Peace.
on, guys? The Negro Shot here, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my final thoughts on Rise of the Tomb Raider. So, Rise of the Tomb Raider. So, to sort of give you guys a little bit of context to where my head was at when I was first, looking at this game and seeing previews for it, I thought it was just going to be another sort of by the numbers sequel, and this game, it built on a lot of the things, a lot of the aspects of the other game. It brings with it new mechanics like the crafting system and stuff, which I wouldn't say is reminiscent of The Last of Us because it kind of isn't. But I guess the crafting system is definitely like it's a progression. Like it's a notable progression from the first game. Now my memories of the first game is a little bit fuzzy, but it's sort of like the story. When it comes to just the story, I find this story a lot better. I find that this story didn't have a lot of useless characters I did not give a crap about, so that's one thing. Now I will say that when I was first hearing about this story, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is cliche. This has been done before. Like this is a cookie cutter story. But the thing is with this game is that it's done very, very well. It's a good cookie cutter story. Like I could sit here and actually, like, if I wanted to, go on YouTube and look up all the cutscenes for it, because I know there's a lot of people that have that stuff compiled into a video. Like I could watch that like a movie, much like my sister actually watched The Last of Us like that, basically. And so I gotta say the story is really good, and of course the voice acting. The voice acting is very great. I'm trying to think of the name of the woman that does the voice for Laura. I'm trying to think. I think her name is Camilla. It's not Camilla Taylor. Is it Camilla? I can't remember, but I remember her first name. But she does a great job at just emoting, like, and it's not even only her, because it's not even only her. It's basically the entire cast. Uh, the voice acting in general is just great. Let me just say that. The voice acting in general is just great. And man, when Laura's about to freaking fall to her death or something, like, Camilla just brings it. So I gotta I gotta take my hats off. I gotta take my hat off to that, I gotta take my hat off to that. Because the voice acting is pretty good. The sound design is pretty good. The music's pretty good. But as far as the story goes, like I said, it was very, it's a generic type of story. Like, it's something that you would, like, you've seen this sort of quest for immortality before. You've seen that before in another game, like Uncharted. I've heard that there's a story in Uncharted that's pretty much the same as this story. Well, not exactly the same, but it's like Drake looking for like the fountain of youth or something like that. We've seen this sort of story before. We've seen the story before, and because we've seen this in different types of media, not just video games. Indiana Jones, Pirates of the Caribbean, just to name a few. And of course, like I said, we've seen it in video games like Uncharted. So we've seen this type of story before, but it's the characters themselves, and then it's basically Laura's personal journey, because now it's like she put herself in this situation rather than being thrown into this situation like the last game. So that is what I liked about it. That is what I think made it work. As far as the story goes, and I'll just say this just to wrap my thoughts up on the story, it was good. It wasn't cliche like I thought it was going to be. Like, I can sort of, well, then again, I can't really say that I really knew what was going to happen next as far as the actual, beat to beat story. I didn't really know what was going to happen next. I predicted that one character is a certain person, because I don't want to spoil anything. So I'll just say it like this. I predicted one of the major reveals. So there was that, but it wasn't that type of story where like, oh, I know that this person's gonna die and this person's gonna die, and that sort of thing. So it wasn't like that. So the story is pretty good. As far as the gameplay goes, now I will say this: the gunplay, and I think this is the reason why they don't have multiplayer in it. And I'm gonna touch on the multiplayer and the expeditions later, but it seems like the gunplay, it seems like the gameplay when you're actually fighting other humans, it seems like that is done a lot better when you're basically taking them out and, stealthily. Like, if you're going at them, guns blazing, it's kind of, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's like, it's just so, but, because it just doesn't feel, I'm not saying that the gunplay is bad, I'm not saying that the shooting controls are bad or anything like that. It just, like, when I was basically running and gunning and stuff, just going up to people and just shooting them and crap, like, I didn't get too much enjoyment out of that, or I didn't get as much enjoyment out of that than I did when I was, like, carefully and methodically planning out everyone's death. Like, I was going up to people and, like, going into the bushes, and I'll snatch one dude up, shoot the other guy that's maybe on a building, shoot him with a arrow, shoot someone else with a poison arrow, and like do death from above, stab him, jump down on him and stab him. So like, it seems like playing stealth is really the best way. Well, at least for me, that was more enjoyable than just running and gunning. And I think another thing that I like about this game, in comparison to Uncharted, because I think, and I always have a debate with people about this, and especially my brother, and I think a few other people like feel the same way. This game does what Uncharted should do. It's not one of those games, and right now Tomb Raider is one of the games that we desperately sort of need, because the market is basically flooded with these open world games. Like, everything is a wide open world now. You don't exactly get a linear one-track experience. And with my time being as limited as it is, and a lot of people's time being as limited as it is, like, sometimes you just want a game that you can just go straight forward. And this game is that. I mean, yes, this game does have sort of a mini open world. I would actually say that it's sort of a little bit like Metal Gear in the fact that it's like closed off open worlds. But in this game, and I've heard this game pretty much like its format described this way. It is basically several hub worlds, and then there's Uncharted sections in the middle. And that's pretty much what it is, and that's what I like about it. It takes that sort of action-packed, bombastic sort of Indiana Jones style take that Uncharted does, and puts that in the middle of your hub sections. And it's like the game, it feels like a game. Like Uncharted, Naughty Dog, take notes because it feels like a game. Like when I mess up on a jump, it's because of what I did. Like it doesn't feel scripted. Like there's certain sections that obviously are scripted, but like every time I move in Uncharted, and that's my problem. It's like every time I move in this game, it just feels so. I guess the word I would have to say is linear, but it just feels so scripted. Like it's a scripted linear game where Tomb Raider, it's sort of a hybrid of being open world and linear, and I think we need more games like that because, like I said, the market is flooded with open world games, and like even with Metal Gear earlier this year, not to get off track, but even with Metal Gear, it's like I like the game. I haven't even beaten this thing. Like I'm on like what the 7th or 8th mission, cause like I like to do all my side missions first and then do the main stuff. And so basically, it's kind of like when I bought Metal Gear, I was kind of a little disappointed in the fact that because all the other games were linear games, and let me just preface this by saying that I'm not a big Metal Gear fan, but I kind of wanted a linear game. After playing that first section of Metal Gear, it's like, wow, I can't wait to do more of that. But it's like it drops you into this sandbox open world, and it's not exactly like I said, it's not exactly a complete open world, but it's just one section of a big sort of playground. And so, like I said, Tomb Raider and Metal Gear has that sort of similarity right there. But as far as, like I said, getting back on point to the gameplay of, the gameplay side of things, it sort of gets to the point where, like, it gets to the point where you can be having fun at some points in the game. And then there's other times where you have to sort of think about your decisions. Like there's some times where you can basically turn your brain off and shoot these guys. Like I said, it's a like I said, this game, I will say this, to its credit, it does allow for player freedom, and I think that's really the reason why we're getting a lot of these open world games. Not to sort of get off topic, but I think that's why we get a lot of these open world games, is because a lot of people have complained about the fact that these games once upon a time were all linear and we're going in that one track and they're not letting us explore more. But this game allows you to do that, and that's a part of what makes it Tomb Raider, basically. It's Tomb Raider. You're going out raiding tombs and stuff. And speaking of the tombs, now I will say this. I am not a big fan of puzzles in video games. I don't like puzzles. It's not that I don't like thinking. It's just like certain games, like Legend of Zelda. I will never beat a Legend of Zelda game because the puzzles are just freaking kind of. It's probably not even hard, but it's like the game doesn't give you context. And as much as I say that Nintendo games are kind of childish, they are sort of harder and they are kind of harder when it comes to mechanics, and it's a lot, and especially when it comes to Legend of Zelda, because the game doesn't really give you context, and this is what I like about Tomb Raider. And if Portal was like that, then maybe I would have jumped on that game when that came out, but I was afraid that the game doesn't give you context. This game gives you context. I'm not saying that the game has to hold your hand, but the game gives you context. Like she'll say a few things if you're at a certain section of the puzzle. So like Laura will basically say something like, "Oh, I need to get to this lever," or maybe I can pull this thing, and she'll say that. She'll give you a little bit of clues if you press a certain button, and like I like that. But this is one of the only games like that, and the original Tomb Raider, basically the original Tomb Raider that came out 2 years ago, and then this one. These are the only games where like I played the puzzles and I liked them. I didn't have to go online for this one. I actually sat there, took my time, and beat every single tomb, and I felt great about it. And this is something that I think with Uncharted, I like my limited experience with Uncharted. I can't really speak too much on it. I can't really speak too much on their puzzles, but it's like their puzzles just it didn't have that same feeling, that same rewarding feeling, and it didn't just it didn't feel natural. Like this, oh my god, I can't even explain it in words how good the puzzles are, how good the tunes are, and I like in this game that there are at least I think there's more tunes in this game than in the first game, but it still doesn't feel like there's enough, man. I want more tunes. And with that said, like I said, let me go ahead and just wrap as far as the gameplay side of things go. Let me just wrap my thoughts up on that. Let me just go ahead and tell y'all what I think about the gameplay. Period. So basically, overall, the gameplay is smooth. It's good. I like it, but running and gunning is not for me. But again, like I said, the game allows you to do whatever you want. It gives the player freedom. So, I mean, you're going to like this game. You're most likely gonna like this game. You're most likely gonna have your own play style. Now, I will say, and I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but the crafting sort of, it felt like it made it easier. Maybe it's because I was playing on Tomb Raider difficulty, so. Maybe it's because I was playing on the normal difficulty, but it seemed like the crafting made things way easier, especially early on. And I was sort of having a problem with that because I'm like, okay, shoot this guy with the poison arrow, shoot him with the poison arrow, and then I almost forgot to sort of mention about the hunting, where he can basically hunt wild animals and stuff, just like in the last game. They did a lot more of that this time. Like, they basically expanded on that, or at least it feels like they did. So, hats off to Crystal Dynamics for allowing me to just hunt animals as much as I want, because that is one of those things that I really liked about Far Cry 3. And so, you can do that in this game. You can hunt bears, but like I was saying a few seconds ago, I made it a little bit it seems like the crafting system made it a little bit too easy. It sort of took not necessarily all of the threat and the tension away from facing, bears and wolves and stuff, but it does make it a little bit easier because it's like you can just smoke this one with your poison cloud, or you can shoot the other one with a burning arrow, and they'll be dead in like 3 seconds. But maybe it's because I was playing it on normal. Maybe if I'm playing it on a higher difficulty, it will be a lot more challenging. So overall, gameplay was pretty good. So pretty good on the gameplay side of things. The story's pretty good, and I said the sound design and the voice acting is very good in this game. It's top notch. And so one last thing I want to talk to you guys about is basically the game's replayability, because the last game, it pisses me off, and I hope that I don't get into a rant. If I do, I apologize, but it just seems like it's so hard for developers to sit up here and allow us to basically play the game again with all our unlocks. Like, where's the new game plus? Oh, well, we have something called a chapter elite in this game. Like, I was reading an article about the possibility of New Game Plus and their new expedition mode, which replaces the multiplayer, which is something I really want to talk about, and I hope that I don't forget to talk about it. But there's basically this mode called Expedition. You get cards in this game, and you can basically either make your own missions online in something called Remnant Resistance, which I played one player's map the other day. It was pretty fun. It was a okay experience. I would say that it's something like what Hitman had, the last Hitman game, where you could create contracts and stuff like that. It's sort of reminiscent of that. But there's a chapter elite thing in this expedition mode where you can go back to certain sections of the game. The problem is that, for one thing, if you want to play a particular section, you gotta know exactly which one to pick right off. And like some of these sections, like you could pick certain cards that limits a enemy's it alters something about an enemy, and then you can pick a section that has nothing to do with an enemy, and then it's like, okay, you just wasted your cards. So like, you really have to know about what sections have what in it. Otherwise, you're gonna start wasting cards. And I will say that it allows you to go back and actually play those levels with your unlocked gear, but it's not the same. What if I want to play through the entire story, the entire thing, with my unlocked gear? Like, I can't do that. I can't do that, and that's a problem. Like, that is a serious problem. How hard is it? Like, do you think it's going to break the game? And I'm wondering, do they think it's going to break the game to have a new game plus in the game? Is it going to break the game? I doubt that. It's not like you have to give me all my gear right off. You still have that stuff locked behind where it needs to be locked behind, so I can't get through this section. You know, I can't get to this section before I beat this section. You can still have it like that, but still, like, you don't necessarily need to give me all my gear at one point, but you just need to give me all my upgrades and everything else, so I can feel like, hey, I can go back. And this is something that I've heard a lot of people talk about online. Like, I want to go back, just like in Batman, for example. And I know I keep referring to different games in this review, but it's funny because same thing with Batman. What if I want to go back and just play through the entire game, but feel like I'm a lot stronger? Like, I guess it's the best way I can put it. Like, I want to go back to a game once I beat it and feel like, okay, I'm a lot stronger now. I can play this game on a harder difficulty and yet still have all my upgrades, and there can still be a challenge. There can be a bigger challenge there, but it's like I'm prepared for it now because I got all my upgrades. I'm ready for this. Let's go. But I can't do that. I can't do that. So that is one of the things that I gotta take off points a little bit for that, because this expedition mode is kind of stupid. It's kind of dumb. I mean, it's a okay idea with the cards and stuff, but it's like, yeah, you're just trying to nickel and dime people, because you can actually buy these things with money. So I mean, I would say don't spend your money on it. Just get in-game currency. But yeah, I gotta say the expedition mode is kind of dumb. It's like, why did you get rid of the multiplayer? I know a lot of people complain about the multiplayer, said it wasn't that great. I actually went back a few months back before this game came out. There's still people playing that, so that says something. Either they're thirsty for that Uncharted multiplayer and they just can't play it because the new collection doesn't have the multiplayer in it, or it's just because they actually like the multiplayer. Like this next game, Crystal Dynamics. Let the next game have online, please. Keep the expedition mode if you want, but have online. I think I would have played the online, even though I probably would have sucked at it. I would have played the online. So overall, I gotta say that Tomb Raider, well, Rise of the Tomb Raider, was a great game. Do I think it's Game of the Year potential? Of course. Of course. This is one of my nominees for this year. So I would have to say you should buy this game. You should buy this game if you like Uncharted games. You should buy this game if you like action games, action adventure games. If you want a game that allows you to hunt an animal for just hours and hours on end, because I spent so much time hunting rabbits for like no reason. So if you like doing stuff like that in video games, I would say check this game out. And I will say that you could probably beat this game quickly if you chose to just forego all the side missions and all the hunting and stuff. But I still think this game has a pretty decent time. I think this game has a pretty decent runtime. I think I beat this game in like, I want to say maybe 15 hours. I'm just trying to have a rough estimate there, because I hate when games don't keep track of the time you played. But I'm just trying to think. It's probably about 15 hours. So I like it to close off this review by just saying, try the game. Try the game. I think the game is great. I'm not going to give it a score. I'm just going to say buy the game. So let me know what you guys think about Rise of the Tomb Raider. So until next time, this has been the Negro Shotty. I'm out of here. Peace.